Hi, this is Dr. Gordo. Welcome to the Raven and the Writing Desk. Today we are talking about adverbs. Adverbs, simply put, are words that modify verbs. They add descriptions onto action words. As we're going to see, they can also modify other adverbs as well as adjectives. They often end in ly, but not always, particularly when adverbs act like adjectives. And they can appear in different positions in the sentence. So let's see what we can get out of this lesson. I've put a few sentences up here and beside the type of word that's being modified, and I have not said it so far in this video, but as a reminder, this sort of stuff is for English teachers, those who need to know the proper terms for the different words in a sentence and how they're operating. If you're just someone trying to get better with your writing, this is still going to help you out, but don't be too concerned about the technical terms, such as the first sentence. He closed the door quietly. In this sentence, closed is the verb, and it's being modified with the adverb quietly. What's going on with the door? Well, it's being shut quietly. An example of how an adverb can modify another adverb is the phrase too quietly. How can an adverb modify an adjective? Very quiet. And I have a lot to say about the word very in a moment. As we've seen in other videos, an adverb can actually modify an entire clause. In this case here, I'm just going to say sentence. Unfortunately, I did not hear him leave. So in this sense here, unfortunately is the adverb, and it's modifying the whole sentence. As a general warning, limit the use of adverbs to avoid wordiness. Use very, very rarely. If I had to think of a stereotypical bad composition from a student, maybe they had to describe themselves in 100 words. And they use the word very at least 10 times in the hope that, oh, if I keep on using words, I'm eventually going to get to that word count, without realizing that good writing is tight writing. We want to eliminate unnecessary words, and quite often, the word very is very unnecessary. This is also a chance to think about, well, what is it that you're describing? What is it that you want to say? If you're talking about as I've mentioned before in other videos, if you're talking about a big house, a large house, you want to say mansion. And in this case here, instead of saying very big or very large, want to just say huge or massive. But if it's like, well, it's like huge times massive, well then how about the word gargantuan? As I keep stressing, the more you read and the more you try writing, the more you'll expand your vocabulary, and you'll find other ways to describe phenomenon or whatever it is that you're looking at in as few words as possible. So with that said, let's move on. When you are going to use an adverb, it's because you have something to add about how something is happening. Is it happening fast or slowly, softly or loudly, now or later, here or there? When you have vital information you want to share with your audience, as in you have a vital descriptive word for what's happening, it's really crucial to really getting the gist of what's happening right now, well then use that adverb. But if you don't need to use it, just skip it. Keep your writing as simply as possible. As simple as possible. A quick note while we're going along here about adverbs and linking verbs. We did a video on linking verbs. So we have a video on verbs galore. Go check it out. So we've looked at sentences that have a subject, linking verb, and then a modifier, such as an adjective. The car goes fast. In this case here, though, again, most adverbs in their regular form end in ly. If you are using a linking verb, the adverb is going to look more like an adjective. There is the word greatly in English, such as, now I'm on a spot. This concerns us greatly. That's the sentence I was trying to think of. But if you were to say, he sings greatly, English speakers, native speakers in the audience are just going to know, yeah, that just sounds wrong. And it's like, but greatly is the adverb, and it's describing the way that he sings. When you are using a linking verb, write the adverb as it would appear as an adjective. So the proper way to say it would be, he sings great. And English listeners in the audience are going to be nodding, saying, yeah, that does sound a lot better. But of course, on this channel, we never say, well, it just sounds better, go with it. We always have to explain it. In this case here, an adverb is sometimes written like it would as an adjective because you're using a linking verb. I said we would explain it. I'm not saying the explanations would be nice and neat or that we would like them, but there it is. Why don't we move on? Comparatives and superlatives. I always have fun saying that word. I always say it different each time. We're going to, on occasion, fine-tune those adverbs with the qualifiers more or most. Who is more likely to use social media? He greeted the crowd most warmly. As you can probably tell already, adverbs can be annoying to begin with, and when we're starting to add comparatives and superlatives to them, again, it's not that it never happens and that you shouldn't do it, but like I said, this is the value of editing. If you write something down and you're not sure it sounds very good, or it sounds good at all, just move on. You can always go back and edit it. Now, when it comes to placement of the adverb, there's no good news. Adverbs can appear potentially anywhere in the sentence. More often than not, they're close to the word that they're modifying. So not only do you have to worry about that, but you also have to think that the placement of the adverb within the sentence can dramatically change the meaning of that sentence. Let's check this out. It's entirely difficult to follow his instructions. It's difficult to entirely follow his instructions. It's difficult to follow his instructions entirely. So what is difficult? Are you saying that following instructions in general, to a T, step by step, is that what's difficult? Or is there something about the instructions themselves that you're having trouble following each and every step? And again, what is it that you want to do? When you're thinking about your writing, when you're thinking about what you want to say, what is it that you want to say? Who is doing what to whom? What precisely is it that you want to say? And again, you're going to try to get that down on paper. And if you're thinking, I know I can write that better, great. Maybe you can do that later, because when you're getting your ideas on the page, it's very bad to get bogged down in a single sentence. The point here is that say what it is that you want to say. And if you need adverbs to say it, fantastic. And if you're not sure you're saying it correctly, that's okay. You can come back to it later. So for the recap, and I knew getting into a video on adverbs that it's kind of difficult to make a nice package with them. What I would like you to walk away with is the idea that to use adverbs sparingly. Yes, sometimes they can be fantastic for properly framing the action, communicating an idea for exactly how something is happening, but they can become annoying very quickly. And see, now I can't stop saying very, because I've got it in my head. So say it as you want to say. If you have an adverb, think carefully about its placement in the sentence and how moving it around can change the meaning of that sentence. And by all means, if you can think of a better word to replace the adverb, go for it. So I hope you found this information helpful. In the meantime, you can check out some of our other videos such as nouns and articles. And if you have not done so already, please like and subscribe to the video. And as always, if you have any questions, please put them down in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to them as soon as I can. Thank you very much for hearing me out on adverbs, and I'll see you in the next one.